You don't have one personality. Think about it. There's the version of you that talks to your parents, the version your closest friend gets, the version that shows up at work. And then there's the completely different creature that appears when you're home alone. With one friend, you won't stop talking. With another, you're strangely quiet. Around certain people, you're confident without even trying. But put you next to someone whose opinion really matters to you, and suddenly you're checking every sentence before it leaves your mouth. Same face, same memories, same person. So, which one is actually you? Imagine you're having dinner with your family. You're calm, maybe a little reserved. Your phone rings, it's your best friend. And within 30 seconds, your voice changes. You're louder. You're joking. You're saying things you definitely weren't going to say at the dinner table. Then the call ends, and somehow the family version of you comes right back. Nobody taught you to switch. You didn't plan it. It just happened. Psychology actually has a few ways of explaining this. One is called self-monitoring. We naturally pay attention to social cues and adjust parts of our behavior depending on the situation we're in and the people around us. That doesn't automatically mean we're pretending. Human behavior is incredibly sensitive to context. Think of personality less like one fixed setting, and more like a room with different lights. The room doesn't become a different room, but depending on which light turns on, you notice completely different things. And that's where this gets more personal, because not everyone brings out the same parts of you. Around someone you trust, you might become ridiculous. You tell terrible jokes. You speak before thinking. You don't care how weird you look. But around someone who makes you feel judged, something changes. Your answers get shorter. You watch their reactions. You hesitate before saying what you really think. Maybe you laugh at something you didn't find funny. Maybe you agree because disagreeing feels uncomfortable. And later, when you're finally alone, you wonder, why was I acting like that? But maybe that's the wrong question, because these different versions of you can tell you something. The loud version, the quiet version, the careful version, the playful version. They're not necessarily competing personalities. They're responses to different relationships. Some people bring out sides of you that you normally keep hidden. Others make those same parts retreat. And that's worth paying attention to. Not because every uncomfortable interaction means someone is bad for you. We naturally behave differently with a boss than with a childhood friend. Context matters. But if you constantly feel like you have to shrink yourself around someone, or perform, or calculate every word, that feeling is information too. So maybe finding the real you isn't about choosing one version and calling all the others fake. Maybe there isn't one perfect version hiding underneath everything. You're the person who's serious with one person, ridiculous with another, quiet somewhere else, and singing horribly when nobody's home. They're all pieces of you. But there is one question worth asking. Which people make you feel like you have to become less of yourself, and which ones make you comfortable enough to become more? Because sometimes the person you become around someone tells you just as much about the relationship as it does about you.